I don't want to generalize too much, but I would argue that Halliday's strong impetus, to tell us that we need to explain language, the use of language on the basis of context, and on basis of so-called situational context, a word I don't like particularly much, but that's another story, and cultural context. That's the starting point of social semiotics. Whether that is being worked out through in detail for whether by fleshing out and developing the key terms, like in a more sociological sense, like resource and choice and all these kind of things, which we might also come back to later on, and whether it is done, whether this is actually done in relation to specific types of, specific discourses or genres, is a question. So I mean, a lot of people do not really bring in deeply enough the sociological dimension of social semiotics, in my view. That is why I found inspiration from critical discourse analysis, where people did do that. Not all, but most people, certainly Norman Fairclough, Ruud Wodak, and so on, they did exactly that. They did not only marry, as it were, Rudolf Arnheim and systemic linguistics, but also systemic linguistics and the kind of concepts you need to draw on to go a step further in being able to explain language and use of language and other modes in the way that I believe Halliday really intended. So he has some sociological references, in social semiotics, principally Bernstein and Berger and Lachmann, but it's not being worked out. There's no further reading, no further filling out the canvas of what is necessary to having a real social semiotics. But yeah, that's the next step. So that's what social semiotics needs to do. It needs to talk about, it needs to build on what Bob Hodgson and Gunther have started and flesh out the social and sociological and cultural context, so that we can not only describe but also explain what things are like in language. Language is not, cannot be uniquely claimed by one approach. You need to. Another thing, of course, is history. I mean, increasingly, I think, if you want to explain things, you have to think about change and about history, which has been neglected and has therefore become a great area of ignorance amongst linguists.